and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're well. Today we are talking all about bloating. Recently I did a bit of a Q&A and one of the big questions that came up was all about bloating and tips on how to deal with it, and I decided I should make a whole video on this topic because I personally have gone through quite a bit of bloating slash IBS slash digestion issues of my own over the past nearly 4 years, and that's actually what led me on the path to healthy eating and to discovering more about nutrition and fitness, and so I figured I should make a video on it. I'm going to start by talking about my personal journey with IBS and just very briefly. So probably about 4 years ago now, I was in my end of my first year, second year of drama school, and I started to get horrendous bloating and bouts of constipation, and it was horrible. I remember I would kind of eat my lunch at college, and by the halfway through the lesson in the afternoon that we had, and I remember very specifically one voice lesson, where I'd had my lunch and my stomach was so bloated. I was at least 6 months gone, like 6 months pregnant. I was this huge tummy, and the cramping was so painful to the point where I was doubled over. I couldn't stand up straight because it hurt so much. And it was at that point, and I really remember it was that point, I was like, enough is enough. I'm going to the doctors. I'm getting to the bottom of this. I'm sure I've got IBS. I just want some formal clarification that that is what it is. And yes, I went to the doctors. I was diagnosed. That was probably one of the best diagnosis I got, because it really forced me to rethink my diet and nutrition. And so at the doctor's advice, I started making a note of foods that I felt were triggering this pain, triggering this discomfort, or just things in life that were. But for me, I really noticed it came down to food. And at that point, I decided to go gluten-free, and I went gluten-free for 2 years. Now, the bloating and the irritable bowel stuff didn't stop completely. It definitely eased up an awful lot, but it didn't stop completely. And therefore, I'm going to say to you that going gluten-free is not the answer to beating the bloat, okay? There are so many different factors that are causing your gut to inflame, and meaning that you are struggling to digest food. So I'm going to talk about a range of tips that kind of cover all aspects of factors I have noticed really affect my stomach and seem to be common in this area. So let's get on with these little 5 tips I've put together for you. Okay, tip number 1 is to identify foods which are triggering any sort of symptoms you may have. So I suggest making a note of what you eat for lunch and then noting down kind of how you feel afterwards, and the same for breakfast, dinner, snacks, kind of doing a little food diary for about 1 or 2 weeks and just noting how your body reacts to certain foods. Like I said, I don't necessarily think food is the be all and end all of people's bloating problems, but I do believe it is a huge factor. For me personally, I did notice cutting out gluten helped. However, now I do eat gluten. I've reintroduced it back into my diet, and I can say that I do have it on the occasion. So what I would suggest is just making a note of the foods that don't agree with you. For example, I can't eat a lot of dried fruit. If I eat raisins and sultanas, my body does not like it. So I have to watch the amount of dried fruit I eat, which is definitely gluten-free. So it's not always the things you think it's going to be. However, I do recommend in general just opting for more whole foods and less processed foods in general. I think that's going to help you already. Okay, so tip number 2. You need to stay hydrated. You need to be drinking so much water every day. Now, this is just a general health tip, but it really aids digestion and it keeps your body functioning at its optimal level. And I've really noticed since I've got kind of my diet side of everything under control and other factors, I've really noticed that even now, on the days when I don't drink enough, that is when my tummy starts to cause me trouble. So make sure you're drinking at least 3 litres of water a day. At least 3 litres of water, guys. And on a little side note to that about staying hydrated, if you are bloated and you are getting really painful stomachs, I really recommend peppermint tea. I kind of swear by it. If I'm out and about, or often now to even preempt any bloating, if I've had quite a rich meal or I've gone out for dinner, you know when everyone has coffees at the end, I always have peppermint tea because that's when I find that those times I would probably get a bit of a bloat. So I make sure I drink peppermint tea when everyone else is having coffees, and that really helps aid digestion. So I really recommend stocking up on that. Tip number 3 is to stay active, to keep moving on the days. So often when you feel bloated, you just want to curl up in a ball and die. I know I definitely have gone through those moments, but I often found, let's be a bit graphic here, I've often found a lot of the bloating is like trapped wind, and it is like gas in your body, okay, and it needs to get out, okay? Let's be honest, it needs to get out. So my top tip is just get active. So on those times, go for a walk, go for a light jog, get your body moving, and you'll soon find that everything starts flowing out the way it should do, and you'll feel really relieved. That's more of a treating a symptom, but in general, I find when I'm being really active, being really healthy, then my body reacts really well. So yeah, get out and get moving. When you feel like you want to die, go for a walk. Tip number 4, do not neglect your rest. Now I feel like I'm repeating myself about a lot of my kind of general health tips, but it really is important to make sure that your body is rested and you're not overdoing it when it comes to gut health. You really need to give your body a chance to recover, to digest, to process everything you're putting through it. Okay, so make sure you're getting in those 8 hours every night. Make sure you're not overdoing it at the gym. I often find my gut is the first thing that reacts when I'm starting to feel run down, when I'm feeling overworked and I'm tired. That is when my gut plays up. So do make sure you're resting regularly and looking after yourself. That is key. And number 5, this goes hand in hand with the rest. Make sure you're getting your 8 hours sleep. Once again, that sleep, those 8 hours are your chance for your body to recuperate and regenerate, ready to go for the next day. So get your 8 hours sleep. And you'll find your body's just going to be a lot more resistant to all the stuff that's going on in the day, and that your body will be able to digest better. I mean, by managing all these symptoms, by watching what I eat, by drinking lots of water, by getting my sleep, by resting, by not overdoing it, I've majorly noticed that my body has really learnt to digest well, and I've started to bring gluten back into my diet, and I feel so much better than I did 3 years ago. I say a lot of it has to do with my general health and happiness and wellness and stress levels. I think I'm really happy right now, and this is probably the hippie in me talking and the holistic side of me talking, but I do firmly believe that when your stress levels are down, when your cortisol levels are low, that your body can deal with things a lot better. And if you're unhappy, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you're tired all the time, your body is going to struggle to function at its best. So do make sure you're looking after yourself, guys, because often that is the key to gut health. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Go beat the bloat this week. Let me know how you get on. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any more tips that I need to know about. And I'll see you on Sunday for another video. Thank you, guys. Goodbye. Bye.